Alrighty, it's 7:15 on the dot. Good Wednesday evening, everyone. I'm Fox 19 Now First Alert Meteorologist Brad Maushart with the 7:15 weather show, and we have exactly 2.5 letters of the sign up on the on the new convention center sign. These are all digital boards back here. I figured I'd give them a little bit of a helping hand and finally use this thing. I'm going to run out of space. Watch this. I practiced this right before I got on here, and I still messed it up. It's all right. At least I can spell. All right, so we're almost there with Cincinnati. Hopefully they get that up and running before too long, maybe before the winter, because we're going to get a blast of winter here as we work way into the end of the weekend next week. It's going to feel like winter for just a brief time, though, a very short blast of winter. Big blast, but a brief blast. Here we go. Let's talk about today's weather number, and that is 211. That is how many days it has been since we have dropped below the 30-degree mark over at the International Airport. Last time was back on April the 8th of this year when we hit 26 degrees. It's been warmer than 30 every day since, but that is going to likely change as we work our way into next week. We have, by the way, 3 first alert weather days on the row. On the way. Not in a row. They're on the way. I need more of this coffee. Let me just get a chug of that real quick. And we're awake. All right. 3 first alert weather days coming up here in the next couple of days. Friday's our first. That is a severe weather day. We're going to talk about that coming up. Not a big severe weather day, but it's enough that we'll have to keep a very close eye on that Friday afternoon, Friday evening. Saturday, we catch a little bit of a lull, and that's great news for the FC Cincinnati fans out there. Game number 3 of the Hell is Real playoff series looks pretty good again today. The later we get in that match, the better the rain chances will be, but it looks like the lightning threat is pretty much nil. We'll keep a close eye on that, too, for Saturday, and like I said, a pretty good break for that. As we work away into Sunday and Monday, that's where we go from wet to wintry. Betty already asking how much snow we're going to get. I'm going to get to that in just a second. We'll get there, I promise. I would never skip over that, especially since both days are first alert weather days. Here we go as we work our way into it. Nice and calm outside. I mean, it's a very warm day today. We hit 70 in many spots. We're still slowly sinking our way down now back to just 61 degrees. That is still warmer, 61, than what we would typically see for a high temperature this time of the year. So we're still above normal. The winds are calming down, too. It was a very windy day today, but luckily that's calming down, so our 61 feels like 61. Not too bad if you're heading out on a Wednesday evening. 64 still at Lunkin. Owenton, you're coming in at 57, and Lebanon, you're at 61. Just dropped to 59 as I hit the button there. Most spots here across the Ohio Valley, nice. And like I said, a little breezy earlier, but the most of that wind has been pushing its way off to the east. We're going to catch a nice lull out there for Thursday. Enjoy it. We have one more calm day before things start to go downhill into Friday, Sunday, and Monday, those 3 first alert weather days. Here we go on clouds and radar. Again, just a few clouds out there that are starting to move out now. We did get a nice peek of the full moon for the month of November. I've gotten some conflicting reviews here or information. November's moon is typically the beaver moon, right? And that's what we've been talking about. And I'm just going to stick with that because I don't feel like changing things. However, I've been informed by powers higher than mine that it is not the beaver moon if it happens before November the 7th, which it did because today is only the 5th. I've been told, potentially, by a source that may be more astronomically inclined than me, that this is actually the Hunter moon. Either way, it's a full moon, it's a supermoon, it's our biggest moon of the year. It's the full moon where the moon is going to be the closest to us it is all year round. It appears about 15% larger, 15% brighter, and you're probably noticing that if you're out and about right now. I mean, it looks pretty bright outside for 7, even at 7 o'clock. I know it sounds depressing, isn't it? 7:19, and it feels really bright outside. That time change, I think, still has me half awake here this evening. So with that said, go check that out tonight. Mostly clear skies. There's our nice little lull we're going to see through much of the day tomorrow there off to our west. And there's our big storm system still rolling around the upper Pacific. A lot of rainfall there through the west coast. That storm system arrives here Friday as early as late morning in a few spots with some rain. And then with some daytime heating, storm threat does ramp up across not just the Ohio Valley, but across the deep south too, in terms of a severe threat. I know I got a lot of people asking about the snow. Bear with me, I'm going to get there in just a second. You're going to be disappointed if you are a snow lover, I'll just say that. We'll just get that out of the way right now. First, we have to talk about Friday because we don't want to skip over that. A lot of people's focus is going to be on the snow. That's the big talker, right? But Friday, we do have a 1 out of 5, a marginal risk for some strong storms. It is a first alert weather day because not only is there a strong storm threat, but it's coming through the afternoon, and that's when a lot of people are heading home from work or school. So I do think that's going to slow things down. So kind of a two-way first alert weather day there for your Friday. The worst of the strong storms are going to be off to our south, southwest of Lexington down into portions of Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama. But we do have a marginal risk. It's not a zero, so it's generally around and southeast of the I-71 corridor. Yes, it does include downtown. And the biggest threats with this are going to be damaging wind and hail. That's our biggest threats, but we can't rule out a spin-up tornado too. So something to keep an eye on Friday, and here's how quickly things change around this area. We'll get to that in just a second. Temperatures outside tonight, again, a little bit below normal and a few spots out there tomorrow morning. Plenty of sunshine. It's the clear skies that are going to allow these temperatures to take a dive into tomorrow morning. We're right back up to 59, above normal by tomorrow afternoon. That's what sunshine does, right? Clouds are going to start to thicken late tomorrow night. That'll hold temperatures up Friday morning, not quite as cold, more mid-40s Friday morning, right? That's just ahead of the arrival of that storm threat. So, first alerting you, we have 3 first alert weather days on the horizon. The first of which is Friday, which we've been talking about. That's the severe weather day. It's a marginal risk with damaging wind and hail possible. We'll catch a break for Saturday, and then we have back-to-back first alert weather days Sunday and Monday. We start off early Sunday morning at about 50 degrees. I'm talking midnight, right? 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock. We're going to be right around 50 degrees. That temperature is going to fall through the day to about 40 by midday, the upper 30s by afternoon, and then the low 30s by the evening. We're going to go from wet to wintry through the day Sunday. With that said, it is going to be too warm, another W to throw in there. The ground will be too warm to keep any of that snowfall around. With any wet weather early on, it's really hard for snowflakes to get going unless you have some really intense snow, right, to beat a wet ground layer. That's why it's nice to pre-treat roads sometimes. It gets that wet layer going. It doesn't allow the flakes to stick. With that said, we'll see some flakes flying. I think it's definitely going to slow things down for the morning drive Monday, just because it's going to limit visibility at times, both in the morning and the evening drive. And you might see a dusting in a few spots. Now, I'm not ruling out accumulation altogether. I'm just saying the roadways are not going to be wintry either day. But, like I said, it doesn't have to be wintry, or the roads don't have to be slick to cause problems. It'll be wet. The roads will be wet, and with that, we see what wet roads do around here. It's going to slow things down. Plus, limited visibility, and I think some snow squalls, maybe some lake effect bands off of Lake Michigan could certainly throw a wrench in your Monday morning commute plans, or even Monday afternoon. So stay tuned. Those are the threats we have on the horizon. Here we go. We'll talk timing. Thursday, not bad. High thin clouds roll in late tomorrow. Again, if you have anything you need to get done outside, try to do it tomorrow. Because if you wait until Friday or Saturday, you're going to run the risk of it being too wet or maybe too breezy and then eventually too wintry. So here goes Friday. Friday, nice start for the morning drive. Take the rain jacket with you, because that rain arrives as early as late morning, early afternoon. I'm going to show you a high-resolution model after this that breaks this down a little bit better, but this one goes out a little bit further, so I can get all 3 things knocked out here, all 3 first alert weather days in one fell swoop, and then I'll hop in with more detail in just a second. Friday, around 11 to 12 o'clock, rain and storms will be pushing in, wet by lunchtime, and then stormy by the afternoon. I do think with some daytime heating, anytime after 2 to 3 o'clock, that'll be our window. Generally around and southeast of the I-71 corridor to see some stronger storms. Are there going to be a lot of storms? Probably not. It's a low-end threat for us, but something we'll keep an eye on as we close out the week. Here's the good news. For high school football, it does look like a lot of that rain is pushing out by the evening. We're not going to be completely dry. Our southeasternmost communities have the best chances to see some lingering showers or some thunderstorms for high school football, but a lot of areas will be drying out late Friday night and will stay dry through most of Saturday. That's our next little lull. It's also going to be pretty breezy Friday. We'll see some gusts Friday over 20 to 25 miles per hour. That could play a part in the kicking game. If your team relies on that, be careful. Saturday, we calm down, we dry out. We stay pretty cloudy, but it's not going to deter the temperatures. We'll hit the low 60s for Saturday. And FC Cincinnati in game number 3 of a Hell is Real playoff matchup with the team from the Northeast. That is a 6 o'clock kick. Clouds will be thickening for that, but I do think that most of this match is going to be nice and dry. Yeah, William, people always freak out about the first snowstorm. I'm telling you, this is not going to be, this is a nothing burger in the snow department. It's not going to be anything that is going to close schools or anything, but it could limit visibility. It will have an effect on the commute, but not in the way that you think when I talk snow, right? It's not going to be a big snowmaker for us, and it's a very brief blast of winter, and you'll see what happens by the end of the forecast. All right, back to the Saturday. The later we get in this match, the better the rain chances will be. The March looks dry for the most part. Again, this could shift. It's still far enough out. And the lightning threat looks very minimal for Saturday, so that's good news too. So they can play in the rain. You can be a fan in the rain, right? It's, again, not a washout. The later we get in that game, the better the rain chances get. By 10 to 11 is where I think the rain chances ramp up. That continues through Sunday morning. Now watch the temperatures. We start off early Sunday morning. This is just after midnight through the early morning hours in the upper 40s and low 50s. But watch the temperatures tumble through the day. Woo! All the way back down to the upper 30s to low 40s 12 hours later. And all the way down to the upper 20s by the time you hit early Monday morning. So that is going to go wet to wintry. If we see any accumulation from this round of snow, it's going to be on a grassy or an elevated surface, something metallic, right, your deck. And it's not going to stick around long because temperatures will end up topping out in the upper 30s again Monday afternoon. We'll catch some breaks here and there through Monday, too, with some peaks of sunshine. So anything that falls, it's going to melt away. The roads, again, wet, not wintry. But here's something we'll have to keep an eye on. This is kind of a development. The models have been hinting at this the last couple of runs. Take a look at that band of snow coming off of Lake Michigan. It is lake effect season. We'll get an early test of that for Monday afternoon, Monday evening. If the fetch or the wind is, it's a straight line from Lake Michigan right into our northeasternmost communities. If that holds and the bands are intense enough, we could certainly see some lake effect flakes flying around or maybe even just south of the I-70 corridor. So something to keep an eye on Monday night, because that would mean the potential maybe for a snow squall, some limited visibility. That's the biggest issue. And then, of course, we could see a better chance, I think, at a dusting of snowfall Monday night once things have a chance to cool down a little bit into Tuesday morning. So that's something we're keeping an eye on. Again, can't rule out some light accumulation, but the best chances for that, as you can see, it's pretty minimal and up to our northeasternmost communities. When it comes to snowfall totals, because people are asking, it's too far out to give you a total, right? Or a guesstimate. If anything, it will be a light dusting, and I promise you it's not going to stick around long enough for you to enjoy it. And it's not going to be enough for you to enjoy it. It's just going to be there, and it's gone. Because here's what happens. That all fizzles out. Winds start to shift very quickly by the middle of next week, and by the end of next week, we go right back to 61 degrees on Friday, 67 Saturday, the 15th of November. So, yeah, you can't please anybody with this forecast. It's cold. That makes a lot of people angry. It's not going to snow enough for some of the snow lovers out there. So this is a I make everybody upset at the same time forecast into the second half of the weekend. First half of the weekend, here we go. Hell is real. Take 3. Go FCC. You got a little Gary there in the corner. 60 for the March. Again, I think it's pretty dry as we march in. Kickoff. Just a stray sprinkle chance through the match, and then as you're driving home, we'll start to see better chances for rain ramping up into Sunday, and then the temperatures tumble off. That 51 will be pretty much the high temperature Sunday at about midnight, and we'll drop from there. Here's the low temperatures, and you can see it's a blast of winter. Don't get me wrong. It is going to be a brief blast, though. Low temperature Sunday morning. That is, again, midnight temperature, then dropping back to 29 Monday morning. 27 Tuesday morning, but then we're right back to where we started by the end of next week. So it's a cold blast, but a brief blast, and it looks like that is going to be the trend then as we work our way through the middle of the month. Most of the country will be seeing above normal temperatures again. So a little taste of winter, but that's it, because we still got a lot of fall to go. We have 46 days left of autumn. Just one little blast, taste of winter there on our way. 46 more days until winter begins. 3 first alert weather days to get through, Friday, Sunday, and Monday. Saturday sandwiched in between, pretty nice. Tomorrow, pretty nice. And then 3 disruptive days, right? They don't have to be severe weather chances to be a first alert weather day. They just have to be disruptive, right? Your outdoor plans, your commute. Friday, that is going to be a severe weather threat day. It's a low-end threat, but not a zero threat. Saturday's nice. Sunday, it's that wintry weather late and the big cool down, the breezy conditions with gusts over 30 miles an hour likely through the day. That's disruptive to outdoor plans. And, of course, Monday, more of a commute day for folks with a wintry mix. Not a lot of accumulation. I know that makes the snow people angry. But there will be a chance to see some flakes flying. So an early snow, maybe, but officially at the airport, it's going to be tough, I think, to get that snow to come down to the international airport. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Veterans Day, we start our next warm-up. Still pretty cloudy, still pretty cool, especially Tuesday morning. Even the afternoon, we're at 42 degrees. Normal high temperature by the time we hit the day Tuesday should be right around, let's say, 56 or so. So we're going to be well below normal there, but we're right back to normal or so by Wednesday. And that's the big turnaround. Here's the rest of the forecast. Make this full screen for you so you can see what's going on. Cross zoom. Look at that, back to 67. So nice. Tomorrow, but we're even warmer by the end of the forecast with just a shot of winter in between. So that's what we're keeping an eye on there for next Saturday. Next Saturday, UC at home again. I did not write down who they play, but they are playing at Nippert Stadium at some time. I don't know who they play, but the weather will be great. I have a 10% chance for a shower in there, but overall, a really nice forecast after we get past this 3-day stretch there. Friday, Sunday, Monday with a nice Saturday in between. Anywho, that is that. I don't see any more questions coming in. I think I've disappointed the snow folks. They're not asking questions anymore. Don't expect much in the way of wintry weather in terms of stickage, right? Not a lot of that is going to stick. Grassy area maybe, but it's not going to shut down, school or anything like that. Let's see what else we got here. I'm going to try to find real quick this high-resolution model, and we'll run ahead to Friday to show you those rainstorm chances. There's the thickening cloud cover late Thursday. Rain as early as the morning drive Friday. A few spots, but the better chances for storms will be in the afternoon. Okay, so that one's not it. Let me try to find the other one. Hold on. Maybe this is the one I want to show. There we go. So Friday morning, again, slim chance for a few showers here and there for that morning drive, but you can see with some daytime heating, here comes the storm threat. Now this particular model, as you can see, has all the precipitation going over the same area. Can't rule out a flooding threat with this as well before that front slowly dives southeast. It's just one run of one model, but that is how it has it going. So that would lead to a better flooding threat as well to close out this week. Thus, again, it's a first alert weather day. Friday afternoon, Friday evening, that's the best chance for the strong storms. You can see the rain there, the red showing up. That'll be your main line of some damaging wind threats there as we work our way through the day Friday. And then by 7 o'clock, high school football time, outside of our southeasternmost communities, a lot of that rain is going to start to let back up. So some promising news there for high school football, and then we should stay nice and dry for much of the day Saturday. So, all right, that's what I got. I'm going to throw the forecast up one more time for you, and again, we'll be back on tonight at 10 and 11. There's a basketball game going on, but I'm not really sure what time that's supposed to wrap up. So, with that, we should be back on at 10 o'clock, definitely by 11. We'll have more about the plane crash yesterday down in Louisville. We'll have the forecast again coming up, 10 and 11, whenever this basketball game's wrapped up. And, of course, we'll be back here to close out the week on hopefully not too bad of a note there on Friday. With that said, some areas could pick up over a half inch of rain. So that's what we're dealing with. Messy forecast. If anybody ever has any questions, find me on the Facebook. Be more than happy to answer any questions you have. And you can find me right there. Meteorologist Brad Maushart on Facebook, on Twitter or X or whatever you call it, or on Instagram. We'll see you again later tonight. And, of course, we'll be back tomorrow morning, too, with more news and weather. We'll see you guys then.